the dead will walk the earth.
Work on Day of the Dead began shortly after the release of the previous film in the series, Dawn of the Dead. It was developed as part of a 3-film deal with the film's distributor, United Film Distribution Company. Romero elected to make the 2 other projects outlined in the deal, Night Riders and Creepshow, first. 7 years after the release of Dawn of the Dead, George Romero would unleash Day of the Dead to the world in the summer of 1985.
First, he created the most frightening film ever made. Then, he took his unique vision of terror one step further. Now, George A. Romero takes us out of the night, beyond the dawn, and into the darkest day of horror the world has ever known. Day of the Dead.
Unfortunately, that was a very competitive year for zombie films, with The Return of the Living Dead being released in August and Reanimator being released in October. So let's check out the third installment of the Dead trilogy, Day of the Dead. We follow some survivors who are trying to find any sign of life. Hello! The opening is great. It builds atmosphere of how deep they are into the apocalypse, and also this score by John Harrison is by far my favorite of the entire trilogy. The group gets back to the underground base after finding nothing.
Another waste of time, right?
Got that right, man.
We see that the crumbling soldier Miguel is tasked with helping Steele and Rickles capture more subjects for Dr. Frankenstein. Things get bad pretty quick.
Oh, God damn it! Or I'll cut you in half.
After a very emotional scene between Sarah and Miguel, we're introduced to Captain Rhodes, who is now in charge after Major Cooper's death. And he says that they're going to have a meeting at 7 o'clock.
I'm calling a meeting for 7 o'clock tonight. I want everybody present.
Why do I have a feeling that these two don't like each other?
Yes, sir. Fuck you, sir.
We're introduced to Dr. Frankenstein, who is using Major Cooper as a test subject. The special effects are definitely an improvement over the previous film, and they're pretty good. They get better as the movie goes along, but here's a pretty cool one for you. We get to the meeting, and Sarah's had enough of Rhodes, and she tries to walk out.
Steele, shoot that woman.
Bang! You're dead!
We find out that Rhodes is not playing around. John finally talks Sarah into sitting down. Frankenstein finally arrives to the meeting, even though he's a little bit late.
I know, Sarah told me. I'm sorry I couldn't break away. Is there food?
I absolutely love the banter between Rhodes and Frankenstein.
I'm running this monkey farm now, Frankenstein, and I want to know what the fuck you're doing with my time!
After some intense scenes, Sarah visits John and Bill at their place.
There it is. There it is. That it?
We get a really cool speech from John.
This is a great big 14-mile tombstone!
We cut to Logan talking to Sarah and Fisher about Bub.
Can you imagine a surgeon called Bub?
We see that Bub is special. He is different from the rest of the zombies.
Hello!
Rhodes and his men enter the room, and Logan hands Bub a gun. It's not loaded, but he wants to see what Bub would do in this situation. Rhodes is not very happy about that.
What the fuck is wrong with you people? They're dead!
The military soldiers are rounding up zombies again, but this time it goes even worse. Miguel loses it as he gets bit and he runs off. The soldier's dying wish is to not become one of the undead, so Steele grants him a mercy kill. John grabs Miguel and Sarah knocks him out from behind. They do this so they can chop his arm off. Sarah, John, and Bill act fast so they can cauterize the wound with fire, so they can stop the infection from spreading. Rhodes, Steele, and Rickles come to kill Miguel. After they have an intense standoff with Rhodes and his men, Sarah breaks down. Now, I think this right here is a very underrated part of the movie. I think the score is very beautiful, and the acting by Laurie Cardille is absolutely fantastic. I really love this scene. Bill and Sarah go to Logan's lab to get some medical supplies for Miguel. They discover Private Johnson's head, and they discover a recording of Logan talking to himself. He seems to have gone insane.
God.
Captain Rhodes finds out that Logan is feeding the flesh of his dead soldiers to Bub.
You must listen!
Listen to this.
At this point, Rhodes is not taking any chances. He's gone completely off the deep end.
Throw some blind men in there.
Rhodes and John have a standoff. Rhodes is holding Fisher hostage and tells John that him and his men are getting out of there. And John says that's not going to happen.
You'll never get me to do that, Rhodes.
Sarah and Bill are forced into the caves.
Rhodes, don't do it!
Steele is beating John up, but then they hear a siren. Sarah and Bill are fighting for their lives. John knocks Rhodes out. Rickles cracks me up as he tells Steele to fix it.
Fix the box, man! Come on, fix it! It's white! Pour the fucking guts out of it!
Miguel opens the gate and presses the button as the zombies are devouring him, leading the zombies to the underground base. Rhodes hightails it and leaves his men behind. Bub finds Frankenstein dead, and he is outraged. Zombies have overran the base and take out the military soldiers one by one. Rickles tries to fight back, but there's just too many zombies. Steele is about to kill Bub, but he gets bit in the neck. Not wanting to become a zombie, Steele commits suicide. The heroes are reunited and they fire away on the zombies. For some reason, this scene just cracks me up.
Temporarily out of service.
Bub is stalking Rhodes, trying to get revenge for Frankenstein, and he lands the final shot. Captain Rhodes meets an awful demise. Our heroes finally reach the helicopter. Sarah wakes up on an island with John and Bill for a happy ending. So that was Day of the Dead. Now for me, this is my personal favorite of the entire trilogy, and I know that's kind of a controversial opinion, but that is my opinion. I really love this movie. I love Dawn of the Dead too, don't get me wrong. I just like this one a little bit better. So, for me, the human conflict is like the best part of this movie. It bumps it up to a whole new level, and it's really cool because that is the theme of this movie. It's about distrust. I think George said around the time he was making this movie, there was a lot of distrust in the government, the military, and stuff like that, and you can really tell that that is very relevant in this movie and today, and society today. I love that about these movies. All the themes are still relevant to this day. Now, the characters, I think Dawn of the Dead, the characters are better in terms of working together. And I love Peter, Roger, Fran, and Flyboy. I think those are amazing characters. But for me, I love Sarah, John, and Bill a lot. I think they're pretty underrated. Now, you got Frankenstein, who I like, but he kind of goes off the deep end. And the military men, they're entertaining, but I really don't root for them. I do kind of see Rhodes' point of view. I mean, if Logan killed my men and fed my dead men to a zombie, I'd be pretty pissed off too. I'd probably kill him, because if he would go and do that, what else is he doing behind your back? You know what I mean? He could be the reason some of your guys are dying. You know what I mean? So I love that dynamic, because you got all these factions and they can't really work together. And that really just shows that we're the true monsters, because there's a zombie apocalypse going on. There's a situation bigger than ourselves, but we make it about us, and we kill each other whenever we should have one goal, and that is to kill those dead fucks. The special effects are absolutely amazing in my opinion. A big step up from Dawn of the Dead. Even though I love the effects in Dawn of the Dead, they really amped it up here, and this is probably one of Savini's best works in terms of special effects in my opinion. I mean, you got the severed head, you got the zombie, you know, coming off the table, all the guts and all that coming off and just like falling into the floor. You got Captain Rhodes' death, which I cut that intentionally. You need to go watch the movie. If you haven't seen it, watch the movie, and that is like a big payoff in itself, because that is an amazing death scene and just very brutal. I think the effects are less dated in this movie than they are in Dawn of the Dead. So the effects are definitely a big step up in my opinion. So let's talk about the score a little bit. For me, the score in this movie is fantastic. I love it. I think it's a little bit better in my opinion. A little bit better than Dawn of the Dead, even though I love Dawn of the Dead's score. I just love the way this one feels. I mean, even with the score itself, it feels very conflicted in my opinion, because you got like the military theme is what I call it. It's very, very just serious, dun dun dun, and then it kind of transitions into the Caribbean theme, which to me kind of represents the other side of the spectrum. Like, you know, kind of to me it reminds me of John, you know, and the ending of the movie where they end up on an island. It's very, I don't know, I love that about it. Maybe I'm getting a little too philosophical about it, and maybe that wasn't the intention of the score, but to me that's what it feels like. I absolutely love this movie. It is my favorite zombie film of all time. I would recommend it, even though I would say that maybe Dawn of the Dead or Night of the Living Dead is a little bit better of a starting point. If you watch those and you love them, definitely check out Day of the Dead. It is a lot more downbeat. It's a little bit more darker, but there are moments of happiness. There's moments of hope, and I think a lot of people miss that whenever they first watch the movie. If you've not seen it in a little bit, do yourself a favor, check it out. You may enjoy it a little bit better this time around. So I want to say thank you for watching, and remember, choke on them.